Hi everyone, it's great to see you. Yes, this week is tidy up the rest of the garden, get those projects done that I haven't been able to yet, look around the garden beds and see which little plants are still sitting there and not planted. Now, I have one more of these large containers that I haven't planted up this year, so I thought, okay, we're going to make use of what we have. This time of year, I find that, nursery supplies are going down. It's time to look around your own yard and see what you can do. So earlier this year, when I saw how beautiful my magical ruby red hydrangeas were, I happened across one at a nursery and I went, oh, I want more of those in my yard. So of course it has to come home. So I grabbed it and it's going to go in the side garden. Notice that I haven't even put it in a bag because I know exactly where I want it, but there happen to be annuals planted right there in my garden bed. So I don't want to dig up the beautiful annuals. I'm going to wait till fall, till those die, and then I'll plant it in. So to save myself time, I'm just going to drop this pot into the nursery pot here. Then I can lift it out in the fall, but nobody has to know, and it will look so pretty in a planter. Once again, as you're getting through the year, a lot of times when you pick up an evergreen or you pick up a hydrangea, they have been growing in one direction more than the other. So you can see this side is a little more bare, but we aren't going to worry about that because once it's in the ground, it will all even out. I'll just make sure the more full side goes out to where people can see it this year. But I'm going to leave this side facing you so that you have a really good view of what I'm planting in the rim gap. I have already filled this area with new potting mix. I sprinkled some biotone fertilizer on top because these things that are going in the outside in this rim gap will overwinter there. Well, some of them will overwinter there. I have two things I'm going to do. So I know this is going in a shady spot in my yard. Shady enough that petunias are not going to do very well. It's really not a place where beautiful cascading flowers will do well. So we're sticking to foliage. I have some more of those beautiful proven winner Heuchera, the all dressed up ball gown. I'm going to put 3 of these in and these will overwinter. So when I take my hydrangea out, I just leave the dirt around the edge here. These 3 will probably get eaten by bunnies over the winter. The bunnies love them when they're really hungry, but they don't touch them in the growing season. And then they'll come back and be beautiful next year. So I'm really excited about these. Gives a nice pop of bright chartreuse in the shade. And then look at this chartreuse piece. This is Limelight Licorice, and it is going wild here. These were sitting in the yard. They look so healthy. In fact, one of them has a flower bud on it. Look at this. I have grown these for years and I have never had one flower. So I'm assuming that its flower is going to be rather nondescript because its picture doesn't even make it onto the tag. Usually people grow these for the foliage, but I'm fascinated to see what it's going to look like. So I will definitely be sharing that with you once it opens up. I would say it's going to be some type of little white or yellow flower, much like you see sedum flower. So these don't overwinter, but they will add that nice brightness, and I'm just going to plop all of these in because these plants are just going to be happy to be planted. They're like, oh my gosh, we thought you forgot us, but I didn't. Okay, and I try to leave a little bit of the potting mix on each side of the plant, but you know what? Even if it's a really tight fit and you can't quite do that, these are tough plants. They are going to be fine. I am always so pleased with Heuchera in pots. In fact, I do even better with my Heuchera in pots than I do in the ground. I find that in the ground, they tend to sort of raise themselves up and then you have to dig them down again. Some irises tend to do that too. Not the end of the world, but a little more high maintenance. And when you have them in a pot like this, they just seem very, very happy. Maybe it's because they're right there and I keep a closer eye on them. I don't know. Okay, that already is looking good. And now let's add in these beautiful lime lights. And you're going to notice some of the leaves are a little past. You can always just go through and sort of tidy that up. It's just that time of year where we're starting to see a lot of weeds, at least in my yard, I'm seeing a lot of weeds. Oh, and look at how this is sticking out. You know what? This is going to be kind of a wild look. I'm not even going to worry about trimming these. This is just going to be, okay, let's see how they do. That does look maybe a little too long. Let's see here. So I'm just going every other spot is a limelight. Every other spot is going to be your Heuchera. Now, this is not a limelight hydrangea. Limelight hydrangea are a type of panicle hydrangea, and they would come back, but you also probably wouldn't put them in a rim gap like this. Okay, I'm going to step back and see how it looks. I actually love it with this wildness. It looks like, woo, leaves everywhere. Very happy. So this is going to go in a nice shady corner, and I'll show you the flowers once they bloom. Oh, it is so hot and humid here. Dan does not seem affected at all. He grew up in the South, but I'm a northern girl, and this is very, very hot and humid for me. So I'm going to put this in the corner and just enjoy. At least the foliage looks nice and cooling as you look at it. And maybe that's one of the goals of our planting this time of year too. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.